There's one word you're likely saying too much of, and one word you're likely saying too little of, and the mismatch between them is very likely putting you in a bind when it comes to your time. But November is a special month and an opportunity to flip these words around and reclaim your time in one of the busiest seasons of the year. So stay tuned, and you could decide if you want to join me in a special November challenge, one that doesn't require spending any time or any money, but will reap you many rewards. Welcome to the Do More, Stress Less podcast. I'm your host, Alexis Hasselberger, a time management and productivity coach. In every episode, I give you actionable, practical tips to help you learn to use your time in a way that feels good to you every day. No more hustling, scrambling, or struggling to keep your head above water. So let's dive in, and soon enough, you'll be doing more and stressing less. Recently, I've been collaborating with a client on a series about boundaries. And one of the participants asked me, how can I set boundaries without disappointing anyone? And while I hated to break it to her, the reality is that sometimes when you say no, when you set a boundary, you will disappoint someone. They want to hear the yes, but they aren't entitled to the yes. They aren't entitled to your yes. But if you want to protect your time, your energy, your peace, so that you have the reserves for the stuff that's really important to you, you might need to say no sometimes. You might need to set a boundary. And you know what's hard? Saying no, even when you want to, even when you know you should. Saying no is hard, period. A lot of the time, you probably say yes without thinking. You feel pressure to say yes, to be liked, to be helpful, because it seems like a good thing to do or something that you should do. But you're not always thinking about your time and your priorities when you're saying yes, and that's how you get stretched too thin. Saying yes often feels like the path of least resistance until it comes time to actually do the thing you agreed to do. No. But hey, it is November. And no, I did not make that up, but I am jumping on the November bandwagon, and I'm hoping that you will too. And November presents us with an opportunity to practice saying no so that you can spend more time doing what you want to and less time doing all those things you don't want to do, all those things you wish you hadn't said yes to in the first place. November is a perfect time to start flexing that no muscle. And it really is a muscle. The more you practice, the easier it gets. Look, you cannot do everything. I am so sorry, it's true. And that means that by necessity, everything you say yes to means you're saying no to something else, right? Because you don't have all the time in the world. You don't have infinite time. But on the flip side of this, every time you say no, you are opening up the space to say yes to something that you would rather do more. Time is all about trade-offs, for better or for worse. So I want to know, are you up for the challenge? If so, this month, I want you to pick a low-stakes request that you're kind of scared to say no to, but you don't want to do, and I want you to say no. And then I want you to note how that feels. Just reflect a little bit. How did that feel? It's very, very likely that two things will happen. One, you will feel relief. And two, you'll realize the consequences you feared didn't come to fruition. And you'll feel more confident to keep on flexing that no muscle. And then I want you to congratulate yourself and do it again. And maybe even increase the stakes. And that's a wrap on today's episode of the Do More, Stress Less podcast. If today's episode resonated with you, make sure to subscribe now so that you can save yourself time in the future and never miss an episode. It'll take 5 seconds to hit subscribe, and the payoff will be big. You'll never have to think about it again. And pro tip, you'll be using the decide once strategy and saving yourself from the fate of decision fatigue. Do yourself this quick kindness, and I'll see you next time.